after every practice, at the end of the day, all you can see on social media is how Anthony Richardson balled out today at practice. So, I mean, I would not be surprised week one, Anthony Richardson starting for the Colts and going to avoid that pocket passer into the running quarterback. I mean, that's where the league's going. I mean, you see how successful it is in Philly. You see how successful it is in Baltimore. I mean, running quarterbacks is the future. Pocket quarterbacks are slowly coming out. Unless you're fucking Big Dick Joe.
All about the balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Hello and welcome to this August 7th edition of All About the Balls podcast. I'm your host, Mark Davis, in the Sack House, excited because it is finally preseason football. All 32 teams will have a preseason game this week. Man, oh man. But what's more important than that is I'm joined alongside my two co-hosts, Chris Meinhardt, Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Doc, how are you doing coming off the weekend, heading into preseason week one football?
I cannot even begin to express my excitement that football is back. Both NFL, college is coming back. MLB, as you know, has been such a disappointment for me this year. At least I got Connor Bedard to look forward to, and hockey with the number one overall pick. But football's coming back. Fantasy's coming back. Man, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yes, Doc, your Chicago Bears will be the 1 o'clock NFL Network game this Saturday against the Tennessee Titans, so the whole world will be watching. Chris, how are you doing? Same thing. How are you doing coming into this week one preseason slate?
I'm doing great, Mark. I mean, that Hall of Fame game kind of itched my brain a little bit with football. It's getting me in the mood, a little foreplay action for the balls. So, I mean, I'm a little tickle, So, I mean, I'm excited.
You're one of the 6 million plus viewers that had that same tickle, man.
We like it. We like
football
that.
Is back.
Indeed it is. I'm excited. With that, this whole episode is going to be pretty much football. We're going to have mostly NFL. If we have time, we're going to revisit the NCAA madness just because the preseason coach poll came out, which they're not the official rankings. You just have the AP rankings, which will be the official, but they kind of usually go hand in hand. They're around the same. So kind of a good idea where some of these teams are going to rank around. But Chris, starting with your team, man, the New Orleans Saints. Kareem Hunt he visited the New Orleans
NFL's
Saints
best
tonight.
Kicker.
Yeah, visit the New Orleans Saints this evening, Monday, August 7th. So how are you? I know you texted me earlier. You're kind of upset because of the fantasy purpose, but how are you doing as a Saints fan if this actually does occur and happen?
I mean, I was a little shocked when I saw the news this morning that he was coming to visit tomorrow. I think he flies in tonight, probably wine and dine him, get him on the field tomorrow. But I mean, it's just a position where we don't really need. I mean, we had Benjamin. He tore his Achilles this past week, so we're down a runner. But I don't think Hunt's just not really a good fit, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Him and AK lined up next to each other would be outstanding. But it's just something we have bigger needs. I mean, we have Anthony Barr coming out. I give him the money. I mean, we only have $10 million in cap. I mean, there's some good edge rushers still out there, some veterans. I mean, I was looking at Trey Flowers, get him out there. I mean, Clowney's still available. There's some good edge rushers out there that the Saints need. I think Hunt's just not it. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, fantasy purposes, like you said, Mark, I mean, that running back room would be a fucking disaster for fantasy.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I think it would be electric if he can get back to his old self. But like you said, there's so many mouths to feed there. You already have – I mean, AK's only gone 3 games. That's not like a lot. You do have Miller, the rookie from TCU. We'll see how his injury is going to impact him to start the season. And then you do have Jamal Williams, who started off hot last year, and then he became just mainly a touchdown machine in the second half of the season. So if you can use them correctly, have maybe a dual running back system out there, but you're eventually going to hurt. Someone's going to be hurt in the backfield. It's going to be Miller probably, unfortunately. So you're going to delay his progress. And then I just don't know. I mean, like you said, there's so many mouths to feed, and you guys have more needs. The defense seems a little shaky at the moment, but I still think your defense will be pretty good no matter what you do. But Anthony Barr is, I think, a good visit. I think he's a good depth piece, similar to what the Eagles did with their linebackers they signed. They signed some depth guys that used to be decent for, a couple of years ago, but as Anthony Barr would be there, I think as a depth guy, I think that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the question, I mean, we don't have much money to give guys, so like, is Hunt looking for that big paycheck? Is he just looking for a prove it? So I mean, that's also a big question. And does he really want to come to a team where he's not going to be the number one mouth to feed? Because he won't be. It'll be AK, and then it'll be Jamal in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's okay with not being the number one. I mean, we saw him do it with Nick Chubb for a few years, and I forgot what year it was, but they're both top 10 fantasy running backs. I mean, they both killed it that year. I think he knows his role at the moment, and unfortunately, he's more that scat back out of the backfield. But I think he can still play. I mean, he hasn't had that much wear and tear on his body, so I think whoever he signs with, I don't think it's going to be New Orleans. I don't think he will end up there though, just because I don't think they truly need him. I think they're just kind of overreacting a little bit, like you said, to the Benjamin injury and the AK suspension. So I think it's more a little overreaction at the moment out of the New Orleans camp. So,
agree.
But Doc, Devin White. Oh, sorry. You go.
I like the move on Kareem Hunt. I think seeing him pair with Nick Chubb, with AK being out for 3 games, it gives you an immediate feel for those first couple games, and then coming back, I mean, that he can already work with 2. I think if it hurts anybody, it's going to hurt AK. But I think with the off-field problems and kind of how they've handled AK with Mark Ingram, I think that this is New Orleans kind of trying to move past AK going forward. I mean, I think he's going to be on his downward. I don't think it's a prove-it year for Kareem Hunt because he's been playing that backup role for the last 4 years. But, going up that top 20 like you were a top 10 running back in fantasy, like you were saying back in 2020, over 800 yards, 6 scores as a backup. I mean, that's pretty solid. He's proven, that he can make a great running core, the likes of Nick Chubb even better. So I'm excited to see it. I think that him and AK are going to do very well. It's just kind of tough because AK is that versatile all-around back. He's one of those, he's a Saquon Barkley, a CMC, that kind of running back, because he can catch out of the backfield so well and make moves up the field. But we've just seen such a decline, whether it's injury or just sharing the touches, sharing the load, whatever. But I mean, I like to see him bring somebody in that can boost this offense a little bit.
Yeah, we have to keep an eye on it, like you said. So he didn't sign as of August 7th, at 11:30 p.m. So don't think it's going to happen. We'll have to see kind of what I think he's waiting on. Also, the market of the running backs, what's going to happen. He might be a mid-season pickup.
What market?
So, yeah, I mean, but we'll have to see. The injuries do occur to some of these running backs on some of these teams. So he probably be a mid-season pickup. And then Doc, Devin White, he requested a trade for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, former first rounder of the LSU Tigers, and former Super Bowl champion as well, obviously in the 2020 season when Brady came. But he did request a trade in the offseason. Chris was keeping an eye on that as well. He mentioned that when we were talking about Tampa Bay and the division breakdown. He kind of came out, and I guess he put the drama behind him and said, he was a little selfish. He was hoping that he would be the main piece right now. It was going to be his team. With Monte David, he's still recognized is still there, and it's taken him a lot longer, I guess, to go away. But he doesn't regret the trade request, but he did say he's a little selfish. Do you think the drama, I guess, will be, put aside for this year for Devin White and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can call it selfish, but let's be real. Everybody's out there trying to provide, right? I don't think, it was necessarily the wrong move, right? When you've got a top tier, when you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback like Brady who leaves, and the offense just kind of seems like you can't find the fix. After Brady's gone, you haven't really brought in the right replacement. I mean, the whole team just kind of seemed to spiral after Brady, officially retired. So I get it. And, wanting to be the lead on that defense, that's what everybody wants. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants that. And I can't blame a guy for coming out to get his. You know what I mean? And when you just when you're feeling out the vibe in the locker room and you're seeing the direction of the team and where they're going, sometimes you got to realize a sinking ship is exactly that. It's a sinking ship. It's time to move on. It's time to find your way to success. And, and then there's no telling what was done behind the scenes, because it couldn't have, it may not have just been like, hey, look, it's not your time. It may have been like, sit down, shut up and color. So we don't know what kind of respect he was getting. But I'll tell you what, him coming out and taking ownership and explaining the situation and everything, a lot of respect for that. And that's why I think, for him to come out and take that accountability and hey, maybe I was being a little selfish. I think that's a true testament to him putting that in the rearview mirror. And I'm excited to see him come out and perform for this defense and hopefully get him back on that track that we've seen. Because this is a defense that, in my opinion, has been lining up to be one of the best in the NFL. I mean, they were making all the right moves in the couple years leading up to Brady with the draft picks and then the moves going forward. But
I think
you took the words what's going to happen.
You took the words out of my mouth. I don't think it was selfish at all. I think he used the word selfish, which was the right way to describe it so that he didn't look like an asshole by saying that I saw the writing on the wall. And that was that, like you said, Tom Brady retired. And, he didn't want to say that I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be that good like Jamal Dean thinks they are, where they're going to go win the Super Bowl.
It's not just that, though. It's not just Brady retiring and the Bucs aren't going to be that good. I think it was where the Bucs, their fall from grace that they're bringing Brady in, winning a Super Bowl and the run that they were making, the dynasty that they were trying to build, right? But Brady didn't stay long enough. And I think it was just seeing the lack of progression. Like, hey, we lost Brady. What are we doing to fill that? And they didn't really do anything. And that's where I'm kind of like, hey, look, we got an opportunity here. If you guys are going to build on that, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he saw the writing on the wall, and it's good to see him put that drama aside for this year and, move on and let's play some football. He didn't regret it. So, hey, I'm okay with you, not apologizing.
That's how you know it's real.
Man. Yeah, so he understood it, and, he let bygones be bygones for 2023. Chris, do you have anything to add on that, or you go with that?
Yeah, I mean, Devin White's still, I mean, he's still in his prime. He hasn't slowed down at all. So, I mean, he wants to compete. And, I mean, going into the season knowing that Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield's your quarterback on offense, going from Brady to them, that Tampa's not going to be able to compete. I mean, they'll be able to compete in the NFC South, but outside of the South, you're not going to be able to compete. I mean, he came out, he said that him, the GM, Todd Bowles, they all met. They said that they've settled the situation. They have plans for him. He wants to be there long term. I truly believe him. I don't think it was a selfish move. I mean, everybody in here is just looking for that paycheck. So, I mean, good on Devin White opening up. I mean, he wasn't one of the guys that held out. He didn't skip minicamp. He didn't skip OTAs. He showed up. He didn't practice, but he showed up. And I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, the drama was there.
Let me just say this, all right? For a guy to see the writing on the wall, like you said, we went from Brady to Baker Mayfield. At least he had the balls to do something about it. 'Cause I'm shocked that every receiver on that damn team was like, nah, you got to do better than that.
Well, we'll see in the middle of the season how the receivers are feeling. We'll see what the record is, how they're playing with Baker, Kyle Trask. But, hey, good for Devin White to put the drama aside and, be a man and, own up to what he said and, let bygones be bygones. But, boy, speaking of a man, the number 2 draft pick in the NFL draft, CJ Stroud, the guy that I think is going to be the best QB in this class. I really like what he's got going on. He was the first quarterback out of the rookie crop to be announced as starting for preseason football. He is going to play the New England Patriots defense Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on the NFL Network. Chris, the way I'm feeling about CJ Stroud is I just want to see him kind of take this NFL speed. I know it's not going to be the full game speed, but I want to see him handle the speed. That's going to be a little faster than college. Kind of a miniature, maybe 3 series or so, hopefully what we're going to see from him. I want to see how he's going to develop. I want to see him in live action. I know in practice he's been killing it, is what they said. But like D'Amico Ryan said, the coach, I want to see how he does against these NFL defenses, making adjustments, calling audibles out there, seeing how he does it. Because remember, he was so-called a dummy during the NFL test. So I want to see him prove everyone wrong. I want to see him become an expert quarterback play caller.
Yeah, I mean, the thing around CJ Stroud is they're saying that it's still like a quarterback competition between him and Davis Mill. I think everybody with any football IQ knows that there's no competition at all between him and Davis Mill. I mean, Stroud's got first-team reps 3 practices in a row over there. So clearly CJ's the guy. I just want him to be able to go out there, show that he can lead an NFL caliber offense and be able to handle himself. Because, I mean, I know he's not going to be going against defensive ones, But I mean, even these 2s and 3s are going to be better than any college team you're going against.
Still
He
going to
might
be a
see
faster speed, absolutely.
He might see someone's, like I said, a couple series. We don't know how long Bill's going to play his defense. It seems like, what we're going to break down a little bit, it seems like some of these teams are playing their starters. So you never know. Maybe we'll see Bill's defense for a couple series, and with CJ Stroud, that's what I want to see. I want to see him against the 1s, and even maybe the high 2s too. Just kind of see what he does, and make a name for himself. Like put your name out there and show that you can call some plays.
Yeah, the thing about it is, like, seeing these rookie quarterbacks go out there, you're not expecting too much. You just want to see them hit their receivers. I mean, they're going to be seeing generic defenses. Your defensive coordinators aren't going to go out there and spill the whole playbook off preseason and give all these teams tape. So, I mean, you're going to be seeing generic defenses, but just seeing them go against a defense that's not their own during practice, that you practice against every single day for 2 or 3 weeks, No,
that's how I feel. I want to see, like, because your own defense kind of figures you out after a while. And it goes both ways. You know each other, so it's good to see competition with CJ Stroud, and not just CJ Stroud. Doc, Bryce Young, he's taking his first reps hopefully this Thursday or Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern against the New York Jets, who we saw in the Hall of Fame game. But maybe they'll play their starters. Maybe we'll see Sauce for a couple plays out there, a couple drives. But same thing with that, Doc, with Bryce Young. I want to see him anticipate his throws. I want to see him lead his receivers, because it's not like college. CJ Stroud and Bryce Young both, but Bryce Young, I want to see him be able to lead his receivers, make the tight window throws. Not something he had in college as much, because usually receivers are wide open in Alabama. So I want to see him put Adam Thielen in spot, plays out there. I want to see him get the running backs out there in space. Not just always learning when to check down. I want to see Bryce Young be able to continue to check off a receiver, look at other receivers, something he didn't have to do in Alabama, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, that's all the boxes we need to check for this. But honestly, at this point with Bryce Young and what I've seen in the in practice and everything else, I mean, I'd like to see him just make the check down at this. I want to see him just stay on his feet. I mean, the stature coming in and everything that we saw early on. What was it when OTAs first kicked off, or when minicamp was it first kicked off? I just want to see him, not perform like, a Cam Newton. You know what I mean? I just want to see him be able to handle the tempo of the game. I want to just see him grow. Same thing with CJ Stroud. I just want to see them both be able to adapt to this speed, this level of play, and show progression. That's the biggest thing here, is showing progression, right? If he comes out 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,500 yards at the end of the rookie year, that doesn't make it a bad year. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see him be able to grow and progress and become those NFL quarterbacks. We've seen way too many of them come out here that are top shots and fail miserably. So, the progression is the biggest thing I'm looking for every week. I just want to see something get a little bit better. And it's not just numbers. It's not just yardage. It's not just, leading receivers comes into it, at some point. But for the most part, it's just being able to read the defense, being able to, like you said, call the audibles. It's a great one. Just being able to read the plays and control the field. Be that field general. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see.
No, I think it's a great take there. I mean, Chris I know he's high on Bryce Young, so I know he's excited to see him. This was his topic he wanted to hammer on. Bryce Young, we're gonna finally see him. Like I said, he's gonna be in front of all our eyes. NFL Network. It won't be one of the rerun games. It will be the actual game, live. So everyone's gonna be watching him, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Like you said, Mark, with the wide receiver talent around him, he doesn't have these 5-star recruits like Saban was giving him in his back pocket. You got Adam Thielen, you got Terrace Marshall, DJ Chark. I mean, great LSU boys right there, but not the type of talent he's used to having. And
you got Adam Thielen and Adam Thielen.
Yeah. That's not Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase LSU talent either. Yeah.
No, that's low LSU talent right there. But I mean, I just want to see what he's going to be able to do if he can, just like CJ Stroud. I mean, these rookies can they lead an NFL caliber offense? It's going to be different from college. I mean, Bryce, he's used to going against strong SEC defenses, so I'm not too worried about Bryce Young doing that. The only thing I'm worried about is him scrambling. I mean, he was a scrambling god in college. He was able to extend those plays, which I don't think he's going to be able to do too much in the NFL level with the NFL talent on the defensive lines on the teams he's going to go against. And then like big report Saturday was that he was frustrated. He couldn't get snaps off in a 2-minute drill. So, I mean, is the pressure, I want to see him with that NFL pressure.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
that
and
2-minute
part of
drill
that's
is
gonna
huge too.
Yeah, part of that's going to come with just the experience because the 2-minute drill in college is far different from the NFL. And like you said, the biggest thing is the speed. The biggest thing is those guys coming off the line. Everybody's big in college football, but not everybody's as fast. You know what I'm saying? Every team's got their star. Some got a couple, but I mean, everybody in the NFL has that speed and that capability to burst off the line. So I think that's going to be the biggest growing pain for both, for any rookie quarterback, but especially right now with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, who are looking to be franchise quarterbacks on rebuilding teams that are really in the cellar of the NFL, is adjusting to that speed and those guys. I mean, you're talking you're used to 19, 20-year-olds coming off the line pretty quick. Now you're talking 32, 34-year-olds that are bursting off the line faster than anybody you've seen in college. So it's just a different breed of players out here, and that's where I think the biggest learning curve is going to be. And we definitely saw with Bryce Young early on in minicamp.
Yeah, and these defensive ends and stuff are going to know what he's going to do before he even knows what he's going to do because they've seen it already.
Exactly.
And like you said, Doc, too, it's all about progression. You don't have to go out there and kill it like Peyton Manning struggled his rookie year. Trevor Lawrence had a rough rookie year. These guys have rough rookie years. It's just making the progression each week, week to week basis essentially, and that starts right now in preseason. It starts at week 1 preseason all the way until the end of your rookie season. Never know. Maybe they go in the playoffs. Maybe it goes into the playoffs. We will see with that. But all eyes are on Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. And Doc, you talked about it earlier. You mentioned it, the Bucs quarterback battle. That is a battle I'm looking forward to because Kyle Trask, the former second-round pick out of the University of Florida, has been reported he is up there with Baker Mayfield during training camp. So seeing Baker and Kyle Trask going into week 1, who's going to start is going to be key. Doesn't mean you're the starter for the season, but I want to see the other guys start week 2. Also, Tristan Wirfs is moving over from right tackle to left tackle, so it's experiment year. He's having some mental issues. He had to go see a doctor to check out his mental stability essentially, which is good on him for doing that. Wait a man up, and if you had a problem, go take care of it. But seeing Baker and Kyle Trask this week, I think, is going to be big. I want to see both of them play a quarter. I would like to see both of these guys, since they're in a battle, play more extended time than what some of these stars are going to do, just because you've got to see what Baker and Kyle Trask can do. My eyes are on Baker and Kyle Trask for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a big battle. I mean, it's also not just because, when you look at it at face value, you're going to suck either way. But at the end of the day, this is make or break for both of these guys in their long-term, in their longevity. So I would definitely, I don't think we're going to get a quarter out of each of them. I would definitely like to see them each play, extended periods. I think you might get a couple of drives out of Baker in week 1 and then some extended time out of Trask. But I would, like you said, I think it's a fantastic move, start them each a week. The first 2 weeks, rotate them, because then you kind of see how that game tempo comes out starting, how they kind of control the atmosphere, control the level of play, and, see who's really ready to step up and take charge. Because anybody, when you come out of the half, starting at the second half ain't the same as starting the game. And everybody's trying to come out guns a-blazing, after the initial kickoff. So, coming out halfway through the second, third quarter, whatever, it just ain't the same. So seeing how they come out, that energy that they bring, that vibe they bring to the team, and how they rally that offense and get everybody in line can be the game changer in a lot of ways, especially in that division.
Yeah, I just want, Chris, like we were saying, I just want to see it, man. Like I think Baker's gonna be the starter when it's all said and done. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing against Kyle Trask, but Baker is a little more proven. He seems like he's been more ready. Obviously, the first draft pick led the Browns to a playoff appearance, won a playoff game, something the Browns haven't done in God knows how long. So
yeah, and I don't give a shit what you say. It's hard to do that with the Browns. Yeah, so, it's hard. All right, he may not have won a Super Bowl, all right, but he got the Browns in a no man's land.
I think Baker has the advantage at the moment, but I want to see what Trask can do. What he learned from Tom Brady, it's going to be key this preseason and week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Todd Bowles has a hard one right here because you want to see both of them on the field. You want to see both of them get a lot of playing time, but you also don't want to risk their health for a preseason game. Baker and Trask, there's really not much to say until we see it on the field. Like, these guys can ball in practice, but like, what can they do facing another team that's not their own defense, Yeah,
and Pittsburgh, if they play their starters, they have a pretty good defense. So kind of seeing whoever can lead them against the first couple. Well, they play a couple good defenses each 2 weeks. They play the Jets as well next week, so they'll have a good opportunity to play their starters if both the Jets and the Steelers play their starters in a couple drives. So I think it's big, like me and Doc said, to keep flip flopping just for the next 2 games, or these first 2 games really, which will be big. Doc, Chris mentioned not risking injuries. Dak Prescott, they're not risking his injury, like you said. He hasn't played many preseason games in his career lately, and they've already announced it with a newly receiver, Brandon Cooks. They are not playing Dak Prescott at all this preseason. I think it's kind of foolish, not to play a little bit at least, just because you want to have that chemistry there with Brandon Cooks. We already have it with CeeDee Lamb, but you want to get that rhythm with your new receiver, who I think is an important number 2 receiver on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in this offense, he's going to play a huge role. He hasn't played a preseason game since 2019, which is mind-boggling to me to begin with. But to come out here, obviously it didn't work with Kellen Moore. The vibe didn't work. The offense didn't work. I mean, they had success, but it didn't work to where they wanted it to be, right? And now you got a brand new offensive coordinator coming in here with Schottenheimer, and you just want to. You don't want to put the main glue out there. You know what I'm saying? You got to build that, because practice, like we've said before, you're going against your own defense. You learn how to read your own defense. You find the weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand how you can go the whole preseason again this year without putting your starting quarterback out there for at least a drive a game and put him under the lights with everybody and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and see what he can work out, because, Ezekiel's gone. So now you got Tony Pollard flat out coming back from an injury, right?
Deuce Vaughn, the rookie.
Yep. Seeing how you're going to gel with Deuce Vaughn.
That man looks so little too. That man looks like Doc. That man was so he's shorter than me. I think he's like 5'5" or something like that. This guy is.
Hey man, that might it's what was that movie?
It's like Mario before he ate the mushroom.
The Little Giants, where he's like crawling under the legs. Was that what it was?
Did you see him try to throw a block out of the backfield and just get fucking ran over?
Yeah, that man does
I
not
think
need to try
of that scene from The Blind Side with Michael Orr when they were doing the high school tape, when he sent him home and just picked him up from like the 20-yard line and dragged him all the way back through the end zone. That's what I see with him trying to throw a block.
And they had those guardian caps too, so like it looks like Mario's hat before he eats a mushroom. He's so fucking little, man. It's
you love
God,
to see it.
Dude. Yeah, but I think it is. I think it's important for him to get playing time. Like you said, Doc, you don't want to risk, have him out there getting hurt just to get chemistry. But
I get that though. I do
get it. It's just,
I get it, but
that's why he didn't play in 2021. Which
you're sitting here. Everything's on the line. Jerry Jones wants to win. You're making all the moves. Doing. You're swearing that this is every year. This is the year, right? We them boys every single year. But you're not taking the steps to make your team successful. I'm not saying that playing in the preseason is what makes a successful quarterback or successful team, but you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you have. Yes, you're not going to play every single down in a preseason game, because the reality is you got a lot of second and third stringers that are hard charging, trying to earn their spot, right? So there are guys that are playing it like it's a regular season. So I get that, but put them out there in the first few drives where you got starters. You're playing the Broncos. The Broncos starters are not going balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying? Put him out there. See what he can. Let him build that rapport with the offense. Let him get that chemistry going. But no, we're going to see another Dak Prescott leading the league in interceptions. We're going to see a weaker Cowboys team. They're not even going to win the division, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see how many people got Super Bowl champions 2024, tattoos that now got to get covered up with 2025 next season.
Yeah, we'll see. Dak has been throwing a lot of interceptions in camp too, or at least a lot of videos it shows. I know a couple of them have been his fault, but man, a lot when the deep ball throws, he's short throws. So we'll have to see if they can turn that around during the season, because they're not going to do it in preseason. So during the season,
they tried to trade him. They tried to trade him, but he threw a going away party and it got intercepted. So he ended up coming back.
I think this is a dumb move by Mike McCarthy, not playing him, at least keep him on like a snap count or something. Tell that man to go out there and be cautious. Don't do anything stupid. They came out flat last year. They came out flat the year before. Like, He doesn't have this connections with his wide receivers. He, like Doc said, new offensive coordinator. You got to get him out there and get some playing time. It's Dak. I feel bad for a situation. Like you mentioned, Mark, like social media, I fucking feel bad for Dak as well. I mean, that man's getting fucking roasted on every NFL news fucking thing. And then there you have Aaron Rodgers getting picked off by Sauce, and everyone's just fucking praising Sauce, but not riding Aaron. So, I mean, I feel bad for him.
Because Aaron's out there playing.
True.
This guy's been playing preseason snaps since 2019.
And then I don't know what's happening in that locker room. I don't know if Dak isn't liked in the locker room or what, but when you got Stephon Diggs fucking coming at you and saying you're a fucking joke or whatever he said to him in the end zone.
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon. One of the Diggs brothers. When you got they probably both say it to him. But when you got Trayvon coming to you and saying, cursing at you, and you're the fucking lead quarterback for how many years now? Something in that locker room is fishy.
They addressed
that begs the question. That begs the question, though. I mean, is this McCarthy saying we're not playing Dak? Is this the front office saying we're going to protect him, make sure he doesn't get hurt? Or is this Dak being a prima donna saying not doing it?
It's Jared Jones' team. Jared Jones tells McCarthy what to say, it seems like. But, Chris, they
Jared Jones, the puppet master.
They said that that's no big deal. That's the way they are in practice. They just trash talk. So, they're playing the whole, Savoyard kind of game. I haven't seen it any other year. Yeah, I mean, but Trayvon's he's got a set of balls on him now. He's got another corner to back him up. So now Trayvon's going to be running his mouth a lot more. But Doc,
I don't know. The most frustrating thing. Last thing I'll say. The most frustrating thing on it is he has not performed at a level that warrants you sitting out an entire preseason since 2019. You know what I'm saying? Patty Mahomes, I don't think is sitting out the entire preseason. You know what I mean?
The only year I can understand him sitting out was 2021 when he came back from that, broken ankle that was in a helicopter, ankle play. So that I can understand. Don't push him in the preseason off that nasty, leg injury. But the rest of the year is he should be playing a little bit. But
he should be out there this year.
Yeah, two teams that aren't worried about playing their starters. Russell Wilson and Derek Carr will be playing because both teams have announced whoever's available, whoever's not hurt. Demarius Davis is not going to play probably for the Saints. He's, a little banged up at the moment. But the starters for the New Orleans Saints and the Denver Broncos have been said they are playing preseason football. So, you have the Saints playing all their starters. Derek Carr's going to be out there. I think Alvin Kamara can still play, so you probably see some AK out there. You're going to see Russell Wilson. Don't know how much we're going to see Javonte Williams if he's going to be ready. You're going to see Jerry Jeudy, all these guys. Chris, how much should the Saints and Broncos play their starters? Should it be a couple snaps, a couple drives, a quarter? What are you expecting with these two teams?
I mean, I'll start with the Broncos right here. I mean, Sean Payton already came out and said that it's not going to be time based. It's going to be a snap count. I mean, he said just his front line, he's going to see 15 to 18 snaps just to gain that connection between them. I mean, Sean's bringing this Broncos team back to what it needed to be. He already redid what Hackett did. He's bringing back 7-on-7 passing drills. He's bringing on that 1-on-1 pass rush drills. And he's having players run full speed and hitting each other full go at practice. Like, Sean's not fucking around on this Broncos team anymore.
No, he's not.
Like, Sean's bringing it back to what it used to be. And he's trying to avoid that slow start, what they had to do last year. So, I mean, I give credit to Sean. I think he's doing it the right way. And then on the Saints side, I think this is mostly big for Carr. I mean, you have a veteran coming to a brand new team, brand new offense, and he's just going out there to try to gain those connections with those wide receivers. I mean, he flew a bunch of them out to Vegas in the offseason to try to gain connection, but let's see it game time,
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Just, I'm okay with a pitch count, like you said. If it's 20 plays or less, or whatever each coach between Dennis Allen and Sean Payton want to do it, man. Like, if someone gets hurt, then someone gets hurt. You can't go 0 to 100 from training camp to the NFL. You have to have some kind of playing time to condition your body. That's how it used to be. You do a couple of drives when it used to be 4 games. You do a couple of drives the first week, and then you do maybe like 4 or 5 the next drive or series or game, and then you do a half the third game, and the fourth game everyone sits out. So they have to get back that body to being there. Otherwise, you're going to have more injuries. So I'm all for it, man. Like, I'm good with Dennis Allen, good with Sean Payton, playing the starters, man. I think it's got, good coaching written all over it, I think. I'm not saying they're good coaches, but it's a good coaching style to have, make your players play a little bit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's a fantastic.
You hit it on the spot, Mark. I mean, like, you have your body's just physically not able to go from 0 and then go into these games, say like week 1 of the regular season, and players are coming for your fucking head. And on practice, like, your defensive players aren't going to hit you as hard because, hey, we're on the same team. The end goal is to win. We don't want to injure you. So, I mean, going from 0 and then not playing at all for preseason, and then week 1 you take your first snap and you get fucking railed. I mean, that's going to hurt the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to hurt the body. I mean, you're not ready to take that hit, right? Because you haven't been getting hit all game, and then as soon as these guys come out of that and they're trying to hit as hard as they can, so they're taking more beat on themselves for it, or they're landing wrong. I saw us in high school. We had a highly regarded coach come in, right? And he did the same shit with our guys in the preseason. He was no contact, or not preseason, in camp and everything, no contact, all this shit. When the season came, that was the biggest complaint that I heard from everybody on the team was, we haven't hit nobody yet. They weren't ready for it. You know what I mean? They didn't know what to expect in high school, because these ain't guys that have been playing for 20 years. You know what I mean? These are guys that didn't know what to expect, or didn't remember, or they just weren't ready or weren't prepared because they weren't putting in the effort for it. Now all these guys, like you said, are coming at them like a fucking freight train, and they're just laying down and taking it because they haven't been working with it. I think it's a fantastic move to come out here, full contact, run the shit up, get them used to it. Not for every day for 3 weeks before the preseason. You know what I mean? But give them a taste to get them ready for it. So when the preseason comes out, everybody's dialed in. The testosterone's come down, enough to it's not pouring out. You know what I'm saying? But enough to where you're playing competitive, but you're not trying to. What was that? The Bounty Gate for the Saints.
Chris knows this guy.
My bad.
Like Doc mentioned about high school. Like, I didn't play high school football. I was more just there hanging out, watching, each Friday night. But Chris knows this guy I'm about to name. We grew up with him, Chris Murray. I see a lot of comments on like Facebook. People will like talk about like the throwbacks in high school, and everyone on the high school team that I have friends with still on Facebook, they'll be like, man, fucking Chris Murray rocked my ass, hardest hit I've ever had. And they greatly appreciate that because, like you said, going into the season, when they get by someone that's just as big or strong, their body can take it. Like, they got blindsided by him in Oklahoma drills and in practice, and now they're ready for it because they're one of the hardest his teammates on their team provided that, conditioning for the body. So it's definitely good to have that body, conditioned, ready to go for, 18 weeks, 17 weeks, not 18, but 18 long weeks because you have a bye week, but 17 games. It's good to have that conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So, exactly.
And shout out to you, Chris Murray. Fucking guy was a dog in high school. I loved watching him play. And something I'm ready to look forward to watching play is the new Commanders offense under Eric Bieniemy coming from Kansas City. They're in a quarterback controversy too, Doc. They had Sam Howell as a starter, but apparently according to Ron Rivera, Jacoby Brissett has been looking really, really good. Has not ruled him out as a starter now. So you have another quarterback battle out there in D.C. with the new offensive coordinator. So it's going to be interesting to see these two quarterbacks run that Bieniemy offensive style gameplay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's not a bad way to go. He's kind of just been that middle-of-the-road quarterback his career. You're bringing in a veteran guy, not a bad opportunity to give him some starts early on in the season, kind of take the season slow because I don't think Washington's in any position to contend for a championship, and let the young guys learn behind him. And kind of that, we've said it before, I'll say it again, that Brian Griese start to the season, or Andy Dalton, where he's just kind of a placeholder until the guy you want to start is ready. But either way, I mean, coming out and not ruling them out, I mean, it's a classic move by any coach to get your young guys fired up and get them working harder, get them motivated, and get them out there driving, and, let the best man win. Because quite frankly, as a coach or an owner, you don't give a shit who the name is on the back of the jersey starting. You just want the guy that's going to win you games. That's the most important thing. And especially in a team like this, Howell, Brissett, from third string, I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And whoever is the best quarterback, whoever's going to put you in the best position to win, that's who's out there on the field.
Yeah, I agree. That's what you need. You need your best players out there, essentially. So, and Brissett's athletic enough, I think, has a cannon of an arm to lead this offense. But,
Yeah.
and
we're
I
not
want to see
talking to
Sam
Brady.
Howell. Yeah, I want to see Sam Howell, too. I want to see both of them. Sam Howell was a top talent in North Carolina. Like I said, he kind of fell off a little bit his last year in North Carolina. So I want to see it.
Step up.
I want to see it in preseason, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see kind of what Eric Bieniemy's offense kind of looks like without Andy Reid, the head master behind that offense. I mean, I know we're not going to get the full playbook, but I'm sure we're going to get a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. I mean, the quarterback battle between Brissett and Howell, that's a tough one. I mean, you have Brissett that showed what he could do last year as a game manager, and then you got Howell that hasn't really got that starting chance yet. So I mean, Ron Rivera is also in that tough position. Is how much do you play both of them, because these are the two guys you're going to go into the season with, and who are you going to end up picking? So this is going to be a close quarterback battle to pick. I mean, I think either way the Commanders aren't going to win shit, so it doesn't really matter too much. But they might be playing for that first round pick to get Caleb Williams next year.
They're playing for Ron Rivera this year, and I guess the theme though is quarterback battles for the Week 1 preseason, just because there's so many going on. Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew, we expect AR to be the starter sometime in the season, but like Doc mentioned earlier to us in our group chat, the Colts they're swinging away from that, typical pocket passer like the Peyton Mannings. Andrew Luck was a pretty good pocket passer, but he was a little mobile too. But they had Matt Ryan for a little while, they had Phillip Rivers. But, getting Minshew, who's pretty athletic, he can scramble and he can make throws on the run. And then, of course, you have AR, it's an athletic fucking freak out there. So, Doc, I know you're excited to see this quarterback battle between AR-15 and Gardner Minshew, the former Washington State quarterback that had that nice little 1 year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, my eyes are on that as well. I want to see both these quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, I think this might be the one that I'm most excited for, because as overrated as I think Anthony Richardson, I mean, he is an athletic freak, but I think that he's overrated. And I want to find something that I like about him aside from his combine, because combine or not, I mean, you're not under pressure at the combine. You know what I mean? The numbers from Florida were not anything worth even, double taken. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see the guy be successful. I think Indianapolis deserves it. They've kind of been struggling. I mean, even with Andrew Luck, they never really found that true success. And I think the one thing that makes this one so interesting is, like you said, Gardner Minshew had that one successful year with the Jaguars, and then shit since. Like, I'm honestly shocked that they haven't come out and clearly named Anthony Richardson the starter yet. To take a gamble like that on a guy so early, and you're like, yeah, we might see what happens. I mean, there's no way. They're playing the hand close to the chest, but there's no way that he's not the starter going into Week 1. But I think the most interesting part of the whole, you brought up the getting away from the pocket passing, the feet in concrete, he called it, quarterback style, is it wasn't even the coach's game plan that came out there. It wasn't the GM. It was the owner. It was Irsay came out and said, I want scrambling quarterbacks. This is the way of the NFL. It's the way of the future. I want a scrambling quarterback. And that was ultimately, it seemed like, I don't know if he had that mindset going into the draft. Obviously, he made the comment well after the draft, just before preseason. But, is that what drove them to go for Anthony Richardson? Was that athletic ability, like you were talking about, specifically for that ability to scramble, throw on the run, and things like that? So very excited to see this battle. I think this is going to be one of the more exciting ones to watch. I don't think it's going to be even close. But that's where I think Anthony Richardson is going to kind of start to build that gap between him and Minshew, and just continue to prove to the world that Minshew ain't shit.
Yeah, I mean, Doc hit pretty much fucking everything. I mean, after every practice, at the end of the day, all you can see on social media is how Anthony Richardson balled out today at practice. So, I mean, I would not be surprised Week 1, Anthony Richardson starting for the Colts, and going to avoid that pocket passer into the running quarterback. I mean, that's where the league's going. I mean, you see how successful it is in Philly. You see how successful it is in Baltimore. I mean, running quarterbacks is the future. Pocket quarterbacks are slowly coming out. Unless you're fucking Big Dick Joe, then I mean,
Chicago. Don't say Chicago, Doc. It's Kansas City's the other one.
No, yeah. Come on.
Kansas City's obviously the one that he forgot.
Come on. God damn it.
Patty's not like a running quarterback though. I mean, he could definitely escape the pocket and get you a good
He's
15
very
yards,
yeah,
but he's
Hey,
not.
very
He's gonna
heads up.
look for that. He's gonna look for that pass first before he tucks the ball. Unlike
oh, I
Lamar, fucking other boy in
Justin
Philly,
Fields.
Hurts.
Oh, I don't know. Hurts was a mixture of both. I mean, I don't know. Watch that AFC Championship against the Titans with Patrick Mahomes. That man had like a 20, 30-yard touchdown run out there, just spinning out of trouble, shaking and baking out there. I mean, he's underrated as a runner. He really
I don't know
is.
how you leave the Bears out of it when we can talk about Mitchell Trubisky's 80-yard run for a 15-yard gain, okay?
Hey, I'm not going to lie. That
I
shit.
know y'all remember that.
When I see guys that run like you said, like 60, 80 yards and only get like a 10, 15-yard, hey,
That's
fucking
dedication.
do it, man. Yeah, that is, man. That's a hell of a run. That's a hell of a run.
Most guys are giving that. Most guys are taking the Turtle Brady at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Most guys are gassed too. Like they're just like they're
Oh, yeah.
having a hard. Yeah, I would be dying out there if I get first down. I ran 80 yards just to get 10, 15 yards. I'd be asking for oxygen after that, man.
Who was it? Fucking Danny Etling for the Patriots that like broke off that 80-yard run and then ended up stumbling before the touchdown in preseason a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
God, it's
love to
somebody's
see
good. It's good. It's a good laugh, I mean, I guarantee they're laughing when they get up too, because they fucked up. But yeah, man, a lot of battles, quarterback battles, are going to be something to keep an eye on. I mean, we have quite a few, and new look offenses, new look defenses, something to kind of like we said, generic as can be. It's going to be very vanilla based, very plain out there. But unfortunately, that's what we're going to get in preseason. But let's just keep an eye on our teams. I know we all three have things we want to look forward to. I want to see Bijan Robinson. I know Doc wants to see DJ Moore. Chris has a new offense out there. So we all have stuff for our teams we want to keep an eye on. So I want to see Desmond Ridder as well.
I almost picked Bijan for my week one.
Dude, that man is fucking out there.
I'm excited.
Killing it. He's making triple moves as a running back. Like I know it's our own linebackers, but he's breaking their ankles, man. Like it's fucking nasty. Like what he's doing, some of the catches he's had. Hey man, I like it. I like what he's gonna do, and hopefully he can last more than 5 years. But
y'all just need Gardner Minshew, and you're ready to go.
We have Desmond Ridder, but hey, we are officially 1 month away. Not 4 exact weeks, but we are 1 month away. September 7th.
30 days.
Detroit Lions, 31 days. The Detroit Lions
31.
versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes. Rematch of that electric Monday Night Football way back in the day when he was on the Rams. But, maybe we'll get some fireworks like that again. And speaking of fireworks, boys, and everyone that's listening out there, the preseason coaches poll for college football dropped this morning. I mean, of course, Georgia's number one. I mean, it's go figure. But the bigger story is Alabama was not number 2 according to coaches. They were number 3. The Michigan Wolverines were number 2, and then Ohio State number 4, and then number 5. Chris is pulling up. I can't see. Chris, who's number 5? Yeah, it's trying so hard out.
The boys out in the bayou.
Yeah, go Tigers, LSU. So that's your top 5. I mean, I know we have some things to talk about. I'll let Chris rip on
coming into number 8.
I'll let Chris rip on that last one that I know we're talking about. But Oklahoma, boys, this is the lowest I think I've seen Oklahoma, in coaches or AP poll to start the season in a long time. I know they had that rough year last year where they were 6-7. They did not have a winning record second year with their new coach. So we'll see what they can do. Dylan Gabriel out there as well. They had kind of a, rotating quarterback. I think Gabriel got hurt for a little bit last year, but I want to see what Oklahoma's going to do. My rival, I'm a Texas fan, so I want to see what my rival's going to do out there. We'll like for them to shit the bed again, but I think it's a little, I don't know. It's hard to say if it's a little high or low because how bad they were last year. So maybe Oklahoma bounces back. Maybe they make a name for themselves again, but Oklahoma be at 19, very, very odd to see and from this set of eyes, honestly.
Yeah, like you said, Mark, I mean, it's a coaches poll, so it's not really the ranked team list, but I mean, usually the coaches poll and the ranked list is kind of pretty similar. I mean, you might have onesies. You might have onesies and twosies that are like a little off, but I mean, I saw this come out today and my fucking balls tingled because that means college football is so much fucking closer to being on TV, boys. I'm excited. And then I saw fucking Texas A&M at 25, and the tinkle kind of went away. I'm fucking done
Yeah.
with the hype. I'm done with the hype at A&M. I know fucking Jimbo Fisher can recruit. They get 5 stars, but they can't do shit with
They
the
don't do
5
nothing with 'em.
stars.
No, 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 win 'em.
Exactly. Until A&M can get better than a 5-7 season. I know they unfortunately beat my Tigers last year at the very end of the week season. That kind of was sad, but hey, get the fuck out of the 25, okay?
The most disappointing part is they're not even like they're making bonehead mistakes out there, dropping open passes, stepping out of bounds without even realizing. It's like that basketball player on the baseline has no idea what the fuck he's doing. It's like they don't. The other teams aren't winning games; they're losing them. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Jimbo Fisher fan because I'm a Florida State fan, and I wanted so much success out of Texas A&M, but it has just been a heart-wrenching disappointment. Everything that's been going on down there, the quarterback monstrosity last year of a quarterback system. I mean, just everything could not have gone more wrong, which surprised me in so many ways. How they held into so many games, almost beat Alabama for starters. You know, I mean, there were so many games that they were into at last minute that they probably shouldn't have been from the beginning, but then they go up against easy targets and they can't fucking close it out. So
I'm not going to lie. I've always thought, I understand, don't get me wrong, he won a championship in Florida State. He went to the first ever playoff, got blown out, but minus the Jameis Winston, I mean, they were pretty good without Jimbo or Jameis and all that. They had their 9 wins years, 10 win years. I've always thought Jimbo Fisher's been overrated. I think, yeah, he can recruit. That's great. But we've seen like the good coaches like Nick Saban's and, you know, the Ryan Days and the Jim Tressels back in the day. Like they're able to keep continuing the factory and keep, not missing a beat. Jimbo Fisher's never really done that minus Jameis Winston and that talented 2013 Florida State team where they had pieces everywhere. And I think it's right on par with A&M. You know, he recruits great, good for him, but I don't think he's that good of a coach. I think he looks lost a lot on the sideline, always has. You know, if you don't have a Jameis Winston and a fucking Kelvin Benjamin out there and, Dalvin Cook and all, Devontae Freeman, life's a little harder for you when you're coaching then.
I wouldn't say he can't reload. I mean, he's definitely proven that he can reload teams. They get their top 3 in SEC recruiting pretty much every year, up in top 10 recruiting just nationally. It's just that they can't do shit with the players. I think he's overhyped offensively. I think everybody's pretty much figured him out, his offensive game plan. So, I mean, he can recruit. That's good for him. But it's what you do with the players.
And Doc, shout out to Florida State too, man. Number 8 the coaches. I mean, they got a lot of transfers this year. They finished 10-3 last year, or I believe it was 10-3 last year. So, I mean, Florida State's got a lot of eyes on them too, and them back now in the top 10, somewhere they haven't been in a long time. Before a season, so Florida's on the list. So really, the whole state of Florida eyes are on you. Like you guys are now the cream of the crop for the state of Florida. So, big things out of Florida State. Honestly, is the big rumors out there.
Honestly, I am so excited because last year was a huge rebuild year. And I'm shocked the success that we had because I thought Willie Taggart burned this fucking program to the ground so hard. I thought it was going to take us 5, 6, 7, 8 years to recover from that. I mean, that was an absolute shit show to see a guy destroy an Oregon program that was so built, a dynasty in the Pac-12, and then we're like, oh yeah, that's our guy. He's an alum. Let's bring him in. He shit the bed in Oregon, but let's bring him in. And you want to talk about a guy that looked lost on the sideline? You want to say Jimbo Fisher? Pull up any footage of Willie Taggart on a Florida State sideline. I swear to God, this dude was just out here all game.
Yeah,
dude had no idea what's going on. An absolute shit show. I'm just happy that we rebounded as quick as we did. I know that we got one of the, if not the top, one of the top like 2 or 3 wide receiver recruits coming into the season this year. Huge pickup for Florida State. The recruiting was not quite what I wanted to be last I checked.
Transfer portal was big.
Probably about a month ago.
You guys had a big transfer portal though coming into 2023. So
yeah, last I checked about a month ago, we had 1 5-star recruit. We had a handful of 4s. It wasn't quite where I wanted to be. I think we were top 20 in recruiting. But either way, what we were coming off of, still exciting, still going to be a great year.
Oh yeah.
I think the year before that we're like 3-9. It was something terribly embarrassing. That was, I think, the last year after Taggart. But RIP to that man's career. I don't even know where he's at right now, but he needs to go. He needs to never step foot in a college field again. But I want to bring up one. Yeah, probably back like Pee Wee. I want to bring up one shocker in the coaches poll. I know I don't usually call the shots, but I just picked up on this not too long ago. But UTSA had 59 votes. You want to talk about a small school like Tulane? UTSA had 59 votes in the coaches poll.
Yeah, I think they're ranked. It was last year, or the year before. They were in the top 25 to start the season because they played Texas in the beginning of the season, and I think they were number 25 when we played them, and we were ranked too. But they've been pretty good. Tulane had a good year last year. There's 5 Big 12 schools in their dock. I don't think TCU is going to hold up this year. They lost a lot of players last year, so we'll see what they can do. Washington representing the Pac-12. Chris's team, he calls it the Pac-4 now. Oregon State rocking the lone foursome out there when they're all left alone when the Pac-12 dismantles.
Kind of shocked to see Wisconsin in there too.
Yeah, they snuck in there.
Two things. Like, one thing is I wanted Texas at least top 10 because I just want to hear Texas fans say Texas is back.
No, it's like no. You're saying it wrong. You gotta say like Sam Elliott. You're gonna say
what is it?
We're back. We beat Georgia though. We beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl that year. So at the time you have to say that. You do have to say it. You went in a Year 6 bowl game. It didn't pan out. 2020 hindsight, it did not work out. So yeah, it looks bad now.
And then is Texas the new place for college football? I mean, they got what, 4 or 5 teams up here in top 25? Is Texas the place to go to play football?
I mean, it looks, but we are counting probably A&M and TCU not to probably be up there
4
that much this year.
They got 4?
No, there's 5. There's Texas. No, there's only 4. Yeah, Texas, TCU, Texas Tech, and A&M. Yeah, 4. I mean,
I'm so excited to see Michigan start out at number 2 so they can just stay near the top all season long and get absolutely fucking dumped on in the playoffs. When's the last year? You brought up the 2013 national championship with Florida State winning that steamroll of a game. Dropping a log right on Notre Dame, and Michigan is the Notre Dame of the top 25 every year.
Well, Notre Dame's still there, so I mean,
I'd have to look, but I can't remember the last time I've seen Alabama not 1 or 2. And this is just kind of goes to like
in a preseason. Well, and this is also the coaches though. This isn't the official. Because the streak won't end until the official comes out.
But the fact that coaches though put you at number 3, behind Michigan. And I think they only have 3 more votes higher than Ohio State for first place. So
it just it proves that Alabama has a lot of question marks going into the season. Quarterback.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think there's a lot of. I think the biggest question mark is Saban.
No, I'll always trust Saban until he's off the field.
Another team though, before we sign off, is number 20, North Carolina, because they have Drake May, who is potentially gonna try and rattle Caleb Williams for that number 1 quarterback spot in the draft. A lot of people are high on Drake May. So, what does he become? What does he do? I know Sam Howell had that same pressure. So looking at that, also the Pac-12, they're been argued that they're maybe the best crop of quarterbacks this year. They have, Penix Jr. out of Washington. You have Bo Nix out of Oregon, who had a good year last year. I know he sucked at Auburn, but he did good last year in Oregon. And then you have Caleb Williams, number 6 at USC. So, you have a good crop out there in the Pac-12. So we're going to see what they can do in their last year as a conference. These quarterbacks definitely want to get drafted. So I think it's going to be an interesting QB year, especially with these top 20 teams right here.
I'm not worried about Drake May. Drake May proved what he could do last year.
UNC is such a hard team. UNC is such a hard team to judge because, they could end the season being top 15, but they could also end the season being fucking a bottom feeder team, I can't.
And like Doc's about his former coach, I want them to do good because of my former coach, Mac Brown. He's out there in North Carolina, and he's a legendary coach. He had great years with Texas, like Doc said, similar to Jimbo Fisher, where he won there, and he had some good years at Florida State. So I root for North Carolina just because I want to see Mac Brown do good, and I do want to see what this Drake May kid's going to become. And like you said, Chris, we're so much fucking closer. 0 weeks coming up. The Irish and Navy, they released their uniforms. They're going to be playing out there and across, in Europe. So, we have some good football coming up, and then fucking week 1, we'll have our college. Luke, we're going to save it for Luke. I did the math. We're going to have Luke here to do our college predictions. We'll make our Final Four and then our championship game. So we'll see what crazy things he says and what we all say. Who's going to be this year's TCU? Does someone have a TCU-like year? Do they jump up, out of nowhere and come up? Maybe that's UCF, who's not ranked in the coaches poll. The only team in the Sack House not in the top 25 for the coaches poll, boys.
I know. I was about to just say we need to do a little roll call because, I see LSU, I see FSU, I see Texas there. I don't see that black and gold, though.
I don't see Doc's second team.
I don't see Doc, though.
Yeah, I don't see Doc's second team, Illinois. My second team, Ohio State. I claimed Ohio State in the last episode, so my second team's there. Chris, who's your second team? We all have them. I know Luke's a Maryland fan, too. So who's your second team? If you had to pick one in college, I guess.
If I had to pick one in college, I'll go join my fucking father-in-law's side and get a little bonus point, and I'll just go Ohio State. Make him happy,
Then I'll back off the Ohio State bandwagon.
That reason, though.
I'll go off
Illinois got votes, though, but, Illinois lost a lot of key pieces last year. Illinois lost a lot of key pieces, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can keep going. I'm honestly shocked they got any votes. Well, no, not really, because they only got like 7. They only got like 7 votes, so I think it's fair, but
that's why I'm shocked TCU's up there because they lost both their receivers, they lost their running back, they lost their quarterback. But
TCU still historically puts a team together. Illinois is a basketball team. They've only had a couple of successful football years in the last 20 years, and Chase Brown was a huge loss. They lost some key pieces on defense. It's going to be a tough Illinois year. We're back to nothing.
Jokes aside, though, only rock one team. There's teams I want to see do good. Like I want to see North Carolina, like I said, Mac Brown. I like Dabo Swinney. I like to see Clemson get back to what they used to be. They have the former number 1 quarterback. I forgot which rank it was a couple years ago. So Clemson's got the number 1 quarterback in their class. That class coming in being the quarterback. So new offensive coordinator. All eyes are on Dabo this year as well. Boys, we're getting close. Doc, who you hate worse, Colin Cowherd or Dabo Swinney?
Oh, Colin Cowherd. It's not even
okay.
I hate Ohio State more than Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney, I don't even hate Dabo Swinney. He's just in my conference.
Okay,
that's the only reason. But not even fuck Dabo Swinney. Fuck Clemson. That's it.
Yeah, I love Dabo.
Dabo Swinney's actually a good coach.
He just needs to learn how to use the transfer portal. That's just one flaw as a coach. Yeah. But boys, great episode. We hammered some NFL, we hammered some college. So we're to that stage where we're talking NFL twice a week very shortly. We're gonna be talking college once a week. Like my fucking juices are fucking flowing, boys. Like I can feel it in my blood right now.
You feel it in the
Gets
balls.
me so hyped up. Gets me so hyped up. Really makes you want to just come out here and fucking rip a real good fuck Cowherd. Just really let a good one go. But I'm not going to yell into the mic. I'm going to save everybody's ears on that one. But I just want to take this opportunity like I do weekly and say, fuck Colin Cowherd. You're a sack of shit.
And not just that, listening to the lines too, like Dan Campbell, I fucking want to run through my wall every time I hear that man talk because he gets me hyped up. He does.
He wants a fucking lion on the sideline. Give that man a fucking lion.
Yeah, fucking give him a lion, paint that bitch blue, and put it in a cage, and let's go.
No, fuck the cage. Put that shit in the opposing end zone and see how many guys run a touchdown in, okay? Give him a lengthy leash. Give him a lengthy leash, no cage, and see when they fucking come. Oh, wait, you want the football? Safety.
No, Dan Campbell. I don't think Dan Campbell needs coffee. He doesn't need energy drinks. I think he's just naturally jacked up. I was listening to the McAfee show today, and Bobby Carpenter said that's how Dan Campbell is. Like that motherfucker is.
I love it. Dude.
All energy. Like he's fire, and that's why I think the Lions have given him that longer leash. Now. Because most coaches probably have been fired by now, but he's progressed and he's showing signs, and all hype's on them. Like I said, 1 month away, we're going to see Dan Campbell lead the Detroit Lions into Kansas City. So we're 1 month away, boys. Officially 1 month away.
I think it just came down to hey, look, we tried it. Like fuck it, it's let him do what he's going to do. He's either going to figure out or he's not. We tried it our way. We brought in a guy under the Belichick era. We saw how that worked out, so hey, maybe he knows what to do because we fucking don't.
Yeah,
that's what Detroit's saying. We don't know what to do, so maybe he's got it.
But great episode, boys. I can't wait till for Thursday.
Yep.
We'll have two games to talk about. We'll have the Seahawks and Vikings, and then the Jets. The Jets with the Texans and the Patriots. We'll have some football to discuss, some things we saw. So that is Kriska Meinhardt. That is Nick the Doc Skirkwins. Shout out to you, Luke. Once again, we'll get you back in here around August 25th, 24th. We can't wait to get you back. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast, and we are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.